playing outside right on the starting team right now, your screen left, Geraldo Rivera, 165 pounds of pure fury. And to my immediate left, the laconic.
155.
He always is really? Wow.
Yeah.
How much do you weigh?
155.
Corey Lewandowski, co-author of Let Trump Be Trump, the man who really did the heavy lifting on the book, according to Geraldo's sources.
True.
Is that all true?
He has all the best sources.
He does.
And a much better looking than Bossy. You know that.
Absolutely.
You were my great source. You were the only one that said Trump was going to win, and you said it was going to be some obscure delegate in Maine that was going to put him over the top.
And we won that delegate, Geraldo. He won that delegate.
All right, let's talk about what's not taking place.
Yesterday morning, we were all still at Fox, and it was right after our show, and the letter was released of the president saying, I'm canceling this meeting with North Korea. Why do you think he did that?
Well, look, this president is a deal maker, and we know that. And what we have seen from him is the first president in our lifetimes, basically, 30 years of American foreign policy, who's at first willing to engage North Korea to denuclearize the peninsula. That is a very significant step because administration after administration prior to him has not been willing to do that. But if North Korea isn't going to act in good faith, we're not just going to go there and have these conversations. And what the president said was, when you're ready to work with us, we're going to be here. We're going to do this. But first and foremost, you have to make some concessions. And those concessions are to denuclearize. And it's a very important step.
When did it become clear to you, Geraldo, that wasn't happening? And how important was it for the president to say, I'm out, before they say they're out?
Well, I think that was significant. But to me, the writing was on the wall when the North Korean advance team never showed up in Singapore to meet with our logistical people, and it just seemed clear that they were setting the president up to embarrass him. To have Kim not show with the president in Singapore would have been a real embarrassment to the United States and a blow to our foreign policy. Right. But I agree 100% with Corey that this president is truly engaged in taking on the most intractable problem that we face. The most dangerous thing in the world today is the North Korean nuclear capability, and he knows it. Kim knows it. The president knows it. Kim needs us. I think eventually we will get some kind of deal, but I think the president was right at this time to cancel this.
Well, as you know, in the beginning, when the surprise deal was struck that there would be a summit, mainstream media said, this president was going to get us into a nuclear war, talking about a little rocket man, and now he can't make a deal. And now that the president actually has said, I'm getting played, I'm out, the Democrats and some of their friends in the media summarizes what happened this way.
There goes that Nobel Peace Prize. He was.
There you go. There it goes.
Oh, my gosh. It sounds like a 13-year-old stream of consciousness in a breakup letter from overnight camp.
The art of diplomacy is a lot harder than the art of the deal.
And when he got this letter from the president saying, okay, never mind, he must be having a giggle fit right there now in North Korea.
The president was rehearsing his end zone dance, and we weren't even at the 50-yard line yet on this summit.
This is a total breakup letter, and you realize, like, this when your relationship starts souring, but you want to be the one to break up first, so you cut it off. But you're kind of like, maybe we can leave it open-ended. That's what this feels like.
And just like that. Okay, so now, Corey, after the president pulled the plug, suddenly North Korea, they didn't really think he was going to do that.
We want to meet, please. We want to meet.
Now they're saying, we're available anytime.
The maximum harm campaign that the United States has put on North Korea, the economic sanctions are putting such a stranglehold on that economy. They know they cannot survive. And the president has done this with the help of China and the help of other world leaders to say, we have to denuclearize that peninsula. It is too dangerous. We can't allow Kim Jong-un to have nuclear weapons and to continue to promulgate. And by the way, the previous administrations, as you know, all tried to get this done and couldn't. And we sent boatloads of literal cash to North Korea to get them to stop the nuclearization program, and they never did it. This president said, you're going to come to the table, and we're going to make sure it happens, but we're going to do it under our terms.
But the key is China, and that meeting in the beach city that came out of nowhere, that changed the tone of Kim Jong-un, and it's the president's belief that China did this. They told him to back off, slow down. So if China's pulling the strings, how do you react, Geraldo?
Well, I think there's no doubt but that China is the agent that encouraged Kim to sabotage this meeting. It was only after Kim, who's only traveled abroad twice, and both times to China, it was only after his second meeting in China, that everything started to go sour. So I really do believe that the Chinese are double dealing. But people have to recall, if you're my age, you remember the Korean War. We had the Korean War won against the North Korean army until the Chinese intervened massively with their army. So the Korean War wasn't just the United States and the Allies and the United Nations against North Korea. We were basically fighting China, and China still, it seems to me, panicked that Trump opened up this possibility of a denuclearized North Korea. They panicked. They want that irritant in the eyes of the West and the United States particularly. They want North Korea to be the rogue state so China can appear to be the one that reins them in. I totally believe that the Chinese panicked as to the timing of this meeting and sabotaged what was going to happen, encouraged and enabled Kim to play the double game.
All right.
We want to talk to you, too, both about immigration and MS-13. The president's been talking about this so much, was just out in Long Island. Brian got that exclusive interview with him. There's an MS-13 gang member that is accused of killing and burning a man, and this guy came into our country as an unaccompanied minor. What are your thoughts?
He's an animal. It's the word the president used, and these gang members have no rights, in my opinion. I mean, look, the RICO statutes or any other law enforcement capability that we have, whether it's the Department of Homeland Security, our local law enforcement, our state police, have to crack down on what they're doing. And look, the president received such grief from the mainstream media for calling these people out for the terms that they use. These people have no respect for the value of human life, and we've seen it time and time and time again. And this president, through the Attorney General and through the Department of Justice, has cracked down on MS-13. He was out in Bethpage just the other day talking about this. There is more work to do, but he's the first president to actually take this on as a cause to make our country safer.
And Geraldo, of course, the president took heat last week because he was asked a question by a sheriff about MS-13, and then he called them animals. But people were going, he's calling all immigrants animals, and that was wrong and taken out of context.
I agree that the president was taken out of context. I only heard the comments about what the president said. I responded to the comments about the animal, and I was afraid he was demonizing the entire class of unaccompanied minors and undocumented immigrants. He was not, and I clarified my remarks. But specifically to what Ainsley asked about this particular person, what I fear is that he came as an unaccompanied minor. He grew up to be a gangbanger. I hear people making the argument, see, that's why you can't let unaccompanied minors, you can't cut them any slack when they cross the border. I urge people not to think that everybody. I remember in the Middle East where young Palestinians were being killed, mostly inadvertently, but the justification was they'll grow up to be terrorists. That's not the way Americans think. The fact that this one child grew up to be an animal, to use Corey's word and quoting the president, does not mean that these children coming in don't deserve the same compassion as any other refugee, innocent, vulnerable. It is our job to help craft our society where kids don't grow up.
You know that a number of people from MS-13 use that particular loophole in our laws to get in the United States.
Well, I know that MS-13 is motivated to try to corrupt these youngsters into becoming criminals and becoming
But some of them
savages.
are criminals in El Salvador and then come here.
When you're 8 years old, you're not a criminal. When I want us to have a measured, comprehensive approach to immigration. I believe the president should get his wall, and I urge the president to simplify this debate. Get the DREAM Act kids, give them their route to citizenship eventually, but and then you get the wall being funded, $25 billion. I think he can make that deal.
Lastly, there's not going to be, Mitch McConnell said, there's going to be nothing done before November. Who benefits from having nothing done for the next 5 months on that?
Illegal immigrants benefit. People who are coming into this country illegally. Look, we are a sovereign nation. We have the right to have a wall up. I don't understand how Congress doesn't fund this. Look, it wasn't that long ago that they were funding a border fence. This is under when Hillary Clinton was a member of the United States Senate from New York. She was funding money for a border fence because of the security concerns. We have to make sure we can control our borders. We have to have a better immigration system. We have to get rid of this lottery program. We have to get rid of the sanctuary city. It is a comprehensive. You asked the president about this. Look, there has to be enough political will or accountability at the ballot box to make sure that the first and foremost thing that we do as a country is protect our citizens from all enemies, both foreign and domestic, and that means stopping people from coming into the country who want to kill us.
But we have to make sure that our language is measured and that we don't deny that every survey, every research, every poll taken shows that this population, unfortunate that they're here under these circumstances, all the rest, maybe many of them should be deported, but the vast majority of them are law-abiding, hard-working people who are only seeking the American dream. We can't forget that.
And Harald, do you remember this? The president said, we will take care of the people that are here, who came here through no fault of their own, and the Democrats want to play politics with them. That's what they wanted.
Ultimately, guys, Congress is going to have to step in, and they're going to have to change the laws.
Congress has to step up.
Corey and Geraldo, great spirited debate. This is what happens when you have two 155-pound guys go at each other.
Right. We have a combined weight, and we try to find the people.